In 2014, we'll see the inaugural festival of Indigenous Rugby League take the place of the much-loved pre-season Rugby League All Stars game, with the NRL announcing the prestigious fixture will be rested following every World Cup year. The decision was made following extensive discussions with a broad set of stakeholders, including Concept founder Preston Campbell, All Stars coaches Laurie Daly and Wayne Bennett, along with the playing group, NRL club CEOs, the Rugby League Players Association and the ARL Indigenous Council.
The Council's role is to represent the views of the Aboriginal community to the game. And after serious consideration, and I say this very clearly, after serious consideration and really extensive, appropriate consultation, I join with Wayne, Laurie and Paul on behalf of the Council to wholeheartedly endorse the concept that will be outlined today. This team that will be embraced and supported by the community, as will this concept. The venue being Newcastle is brilliant, and Wayne, I'm sure you'll agree, if there's one thing you can say about Newcastle, it's a footy town.
It certainly is.
The biggest message is this: the recognition by the game of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community's love of the All Stars and what it means, and about protecting that concept. The Council, and I say this very clearly, the Council would not have worked with the game on this proposal if as some reports suggest, that this is the end of All Stars. It is not.
We recognised some months ago that the challenges around a late finishing World Cup would pose a threat to the credibility of the All Stars concept. Every single person in the path that we've been on has wanted to keep All Stars. The primary motivation in every conversation has been, how can we come up with a way to keep this concept alive in 2014? And at every point on the path, we struck the practical reality that our players are finishing a season on 30 November. There's 120 players approximately involved in the World Cup, and so the credibility of the concept was always going to be threatened by the availability of our elite athletes, given that early pre-season commitment to the tournament and given the late finish of the World Cup. So we engaged in a range of conversations. We spoke to players involved in All Stars, we spoke to clubs, we spoke to coaches, we certainly spoke in depth to the Council, we've spoken to our broadcast partner, and at every point on that road, everybody agreed that it was not appropriate to ask the elite players to play. And the option we've settled on is the two carnivals that Linda talked about. The Murray and Koori carnivals are a great celebration of non-elite level of the game, a great celebration of Indigenous footy. We've involved Laurie and Mal Meninga and Preston and David Peachy to select 20 players from those two carnivals. So those two carnivals will be the basis for selecting a team at the non-elite level. That team will be brought into, in February, we'll have a 2-week experience unlike anything they've ever had before. The first week of that, they'll be in NRL clubs, so they'll be split among our NRL clubs. They'll experience training, nutrition, leadership, all the things that they can aspire to and take back to their own communities after the experience that they've had, and our clubs have endorsed that. And then the following week they'll come into camp as a team with the mentors and coaches that I outlined before, and they'll play in a trial game against the Knights in Newcastle. So they'll have the opportunity to experience what it's like to take the field against NRL quality players.
It's a great game, it's a great concept, and it'll be back in 12 months' time. But it's also, for us, it's a great week that we're still going to celebrate the Festival of Indigenous Rugby League players, up there in Newcastle, and I think that's very special. And the players always talk about the game's great, but it's also the messages that they deliver throughout the week, which is so strong, and that's always great to be a part of as well.
This is the best of what is great, because it's a wonderful concept, and I've certainly embraced it, and so have the All-Star players. And I'm just pleased that we've been able to sit around, have discussions about it that can take us forward, and at the same time recognise what the players' needs are and what the Indigenous needs are. And that's why I've been so supportive of it, because it's important to them. And it's also important to the All-Star players as well. I mean, I've had some of those guys in that team now for the 4 years that I've been there, and they all look forward to being a part of it. They all want to be a part of this celebration and festival, and we have our role to play in it. And as I said, I think they've done a wonderful job to be able to not disband it, not to make it a Mickey Mouse comp, because as you said at the beginning, there was lots of questions about it, what it would be. Well, it's found its own place. It's been a great contest, the games, a great week for everybody involved in it, and the benefits of the game have been enormous, and no one wants to dilute that and make it second rate and give it an excuse then as to why it should fall over in 2 or 3 years' time.
Football, everyone, is a vehicle, not only about sporting excellence. It is also a vehicle for good, and there is no other event in this country that demonstrates in a very real way reconciliation, respect for truth and the place of first Australians in our nation's narrative, and the All Stars is the best vehicle in the fleet to do that. Can I conclude by giving you a sense of what the Kurri-Murri carnivals mean to Aboriginal people? We refer to them as modern-day corroborees. The New South Wales event this year will have 112 teams over 3 days, and there will be over 10,000 people gathered up in the Hunter. We will work and support these carnivals this year to help deliver the Festival of Indigenous Rugby League. We could not have said let's do anything. We could have said let's not do anything, but that's not the position that the game took. We wanted to make sure that there was confidence in the community, and I know that the Aboriginal community, I am sure that the Aboriginal community will embrace this concept. To have a Festival of Aboriginal Rugby League in February next year is something that I'm excited about, I'm looking forward to, and I want to pay particular tribute to everyone involved in the proper and decent and respectful consultation process that has been undertaken to get to this point. Thank you.